Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chatmosa's Podcasters in Training. Although I do think we've taken the training wheels off most everybody here at Chatmosa. I'm David, head of product. Every week we get everybody together from the Chatmosa team and also some of our Chatmosa podcasters to talk about what we've released, what we're building, sharing the latest updates, and also kind of answering questions about podcasting. Let's do a round robin. It's a big day today. We got a couple of big topics to talk about. Let's popcorn it over to Camille. Hey, Camille.
Hello, happy Friday here at Chatmosa. This is Camille, CEO and co-founder. I'll pass it on to Sandra.
Yes, popcorn to Sandra. You're next.
Hello, Sandra here, head of tech. Trying to get my arms around this platform, but I keep chugging along. I'm going to pass it over to Auntie Derek.
Thank you, Sandra. Hello, everyone. It is Derek, your head of growth here with Chatmosa, and I would like to wish everyone a happy Juneteenth and happy Friday. And I'm going to popcorn it over to Nicole Keipeki.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Nicole. I am the founder, owner of Keipeki, and happy Juneteenth to you, Auntie, and to everyone in the Chatmosa Listen Fear. Okay, I just made up a word. Nice to be here. Happy to be here.
Yes. And we're celebrating two things, aren't we, Camille, Sandra, and Auntie and Nicole, right? Two things today. We're celebrating two big things.
Two things. David is getting a year older. Woo!
It is my birthday, damn it. That's it. That's my birthday.
Happy birthday, David. I hope you have an amazing one and wishing you many more.
And then ditto.
Yes.
Same.
And birthdays are retrospective, right? So I'm just glad that we're here communicating rather than doing. I got a notification on Facebook, and I haven't been Facebook in years, talking about old school. Hey, it's your birthday. I'm like, oh, thank you for reminding me, Facebook, but I don't even know who you are anymore. But yeah, it's all about communicating, and that's what Chatmosa is for, interpersonal communications.
Yeah, it's all about the connection. And you're talking about Facebook, and I'm slowly trying to go into Threads.
Yes, I've seen you over in the Threadosphere. Welcome. We're having fun over there. It's a wild community, but I enjoy it much more. It's Threads is the new Black Twitter, as I like to say. Most of us are over there communicating and sharing, and so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I concur.
Sometimes there's a little curl clutching, but what's life without clutching your pearls a couple times? But yeah, we're having a good time.
Right. I like it there, and I'm liking it. So far, so good. I mean, I've only got 32 followers, and my challenge is my Instagram is very private. So now I'm going to Threads. I'm like, let's see. Anyway, and speaking of Threads, we're talking about like sign-ins, and we're looking to figure out how we can bring in the Threads or Instagram users. But people ask us this question a lot. Can I sign in with my IG account? Here's the thing. I'll tell you, anyone listening here, is if we included IG, you would have to give Chatmosa, so much control on your account, and we don't want that control. We don't want that much control. In fact, if anything, we don't want a lot of control of your account. However, we've come up with a different solution, and Sandra and I are going to be working on that. Sandra, what do you have your hand raised?
Oh, it's specific to Threads. I mean, because we have so many ways to sign up and sign into Chatmosa, Threads has its own OAuth provider. I don't know if that's something that we should look into, or should we just hold off until we do the other?
Yeah, we'll look into it. I think we could launch it both. Just go to sleep tonight, and tomorrow will be up there, right? But if you guys have any questions, hey, can you have so and so sign in? just let us know. We are launching a special partnership with a third-party website, and we've included that, and it's something really very cool and special. So we do have partnerships with websites that have a lot of users. So
Well, cool. Lots going on here. Other than my birthday, it's because it's all about me. We are also celebrating Juneteenth,
yeah,
right? So that's really important, especially in this day and age when just kind of understanding and talking about certain celebrations and definitely important. So who wants to jump in and kind of give us a history and give us some links? Let's use this Jumbotron there.
I'll be
we
happy to. I actually
There
had
we
the
go.
pleasure of talking about this on my show earlier today. But what I'm sharing is an NPR article that I thought was well done. And you should see where it says, by way of NPR, Juneteenth, how news of the Emancipation Proclamation spread through the South. And what this essentially tells us is the history of Juneteenth and how it came to be. So today makes it actually 5 years since it has become a federal holiday. But what it was before it was a federal holiday, just going to kind of summarize here. Weeks after the Civil War's guns fell silent and barely 2 months after President Abraham Lincoln's assassination, Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas. They had come to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation, an order freeing enslaved people in seceded Confederate states. And the date they arrived was June 19th, 1865, and is now remembered as the first Juneteenth. The Emancipation Proclamation had been issued years earlier during the war on January 1st of 1863. It's the version most commonly emphasized in history books. The executive order that Lincoln himself reportedly said was the great event of the 19th century and his lasting legacy. But unfortunately, word of such an order had already been circulating throughout the South for months. And a preliminary proclamation, which contained much the same wording as a historic order, was issued on September 22nd of 1862, days after the Battle of Antietam. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that, I'm sure. But what this is basically saying, what this article is basically saying, is how even after the Emancipation Proclamation, due to it being illegal for for slaves to be able to read and write, they were unaware that that law was passed. So they were still enslaved up until June 19th of 1865. So, and they celebrated this in Galveston, Texas for years, but since the years it has become mainstream. But I'm actually happy to celebrate and talk about it. Again, I'll use this article to talk about Juneteenth earlier on my podcast today and to give more information about the holiday. So there you have it.
see, for an immigrant like myself, it's to learn more about this and from my friends directly, is I find I appreciate it, and I have a question for you. I read that you will mostly see red food and drinks
Yeah,
in celebration of
right?
today.
I saw that too, like strawberry soda, red velvet cake,
Is that true?
or is that just a rumor?
I think that I am unaware. I personally have not seen that over here on the East Coast, but maybe things are done different regionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little different in the South. We've never done that either. It's usually we just find it's just another reason for us to barbecue, uh, which I am not
Got
doing
it.
today. And I say that in jest. We don't really need a reason to barbecue. Um, I do believe that is an old, as my grandmother would say, ism. I just don't know what it is linked to. So I'm not going to misspeak. But I have heard that. I don't know the reasoning behind that.
Well, I'm a new fan of red velvet cake, and so I don't mind that Juneteenth is, a red velvet cake day.
What do you mean, new fan? Who are you? Who are you? Are you just now
Right?
getting red velvet
What
cake?
rock did you crawl out from under?
I come from an island where we have red is like banana ketchup, and so eating a red cake is kind of like odd to me. But
Banana ketchup? Did I hear that right?
yes,
I heard that on Top Chef a couple weeks ago.
Nicole is loading a photo of the famous.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Wow.
What on earth is that?
Please, please walk us through each of
Walk us
those
through
This
what
is
is
this
I'm gonna click on it just so it zooms in for me because wow.
okay. My mother's favorite is my homemade New York style cheesecake. So a crust from scratch out of graham crackers, a ridiculous amount of Philadelphia cream cheese, like four full cubes of it. Um, Baking. I understand they cheesecakes need water baths, so I perfected my baking, and then we have our sweetened cherries on top. It's a full
That is
cheesecake.
Wait a minute.
that is love on a plate.
Wow, that is a religious
w-
experience.
There's
It is,
cherries on
and
top, not strawberry.
those are cherries. Yeah, those are uh actually I had to cheat. These are out of a can, but it works just fine. She's like, "Oh, these are good."
You should have
So
just rolled with it. We would have believed anything you said.
Cut the can.
nah.
Cut it out.
Okay, I need a photo of the can. Okay.
I will send it over. I don't have it, but I'll find it. But yeah, you can find them in the stores, and they have strawberries like that as well. So
Impressive.
I do these, and I'm gonna experiment because I do have a sweet potato cheesecake recipe. So I guess I need to make one.
That's it.
Wow.
I'm buying lumpia and showing it next week.
There you go. not making it.
Ketchup.
No, I'm not making it. Too much oil.
How about we just, kind of, now that we've moved on from the training wheels of podcast and training, how about we just show a photo of food and we all just discuss
All right.
it, right?
It's good inspiration. Happy birthday, David. Are you gonna have
Happy
some
birthday,
cheesecake
David.
today?
Here's my cheesecake.
Are you
for
gonna have
you.
cheesecake or red velvet?
No, I'm having cheesecake. Dang, this is just so great. Unbelievable.
I think I'm still gonna have I don't know now.
You
Ooh.
can't look
Yeah,
at this photo and turn on us, Camille. You can't do
I
that.
know.
I know, right?
All right, change gear.
Changing
Oh,
gears.
I was gonna show it to you cut, but okay.
All right.
No,
We want
no.
to see it cut. We want to see it cut.
Well, we want to see it cut. Come on.
I'm coming. I gotta say the file.
Auntie, is that in your wheelhouse? Because I know you're on,
Auntie
No,
loves
I
food.
never. I don't think a cheesecake. I think I would need a lot of practice before I tackle that. Now, I can do a
You
cake
can
and
do it.
cookies, but the cheesecake, I don't know.
this comes
My-
from putting what do you put on your hot dogs there?
Chili, slaw, mustard, and onions, the North Carolina way.
Coleslaw.
Coleslaw, Auntie.
Coleslaw, but yeah, but it's slaw in North Carolina. We don't.
Slaw. Okay. All right. Oof.
I
This,
know.
this changes my Friday evening plans.
It does.
I know.
I know.
Yeah, so you need to go get a bottle of Veuve and some cheesecake.
What?
Wow. Okay, hold on. I need to zoom in here and just clicking on the photo here. It zooms it in for me.
Was that one piece, Nicole? Was that you or what's up?
No,
Who
that was me and mom.
Wow, that's like 3 hours worth. When I slice
3 hours?
when I slice cakes for people, I say, how many minutes do you want? I mean, that's
On the
like,
treadmill? Is that on the treadmill?
that's like
That's a
15
good
minutes.
one.
Sorry, 15 minutes.
Well, my lactose intolerant self only gets a little sliver, so because I'll have the BGs after eating that. So
Oh,
Don't
okay.
blame
So, but the pain is worth it.
Yeah.
it is.
Next week we could talk food and we could be sponsored by Lactaid.
There you go.
I totally agree.
There you go.
Wow.
right,
So I don't
moving
know
on.
how we go from birthdays to Juneteenth to cheesecake to carrot cake to sweet pie.
I know. Well, you know
Wow.
what? I'm going to talk about this podcast that was released on Chatmosa, put up on Chatmosa here by our Keipeki Nicole.
Becky's here.
And this was a really good podcast. I was not aware of Black Music Month, so it was good to hear. It was good to learn, and a good podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it. I actually tried to start off June on Kepeki's socials with um, Black Music Month. This is one of my favorite months. And like I said in the podcast, I am a music lover and always have been. So trying to make carousels and all the fancy things, old girl is still old. So they weren't too cool. And I got frustrated because I couldn't pull the music I wanted to. So I was like, and I grunted and said some cuss words, and I said I left it alone. And I was like, oh, why don't I make these podcasts? So I had a list of things I was going to do, and this actually was the first one about Sam Cooke, uh, because knew Juneteenth was coming, so it was just apropos for me. It just made sense to do it. And so I, did this podcast and sketched out the rest of them. I will release a few more since it still is Black Music Month. So in the coming weeks, there's going to be about 5 more episodes just pertaining to Black music and the contribution that Black artists have made to music in America. So it was fun to do.
How was your journey doing a music podcast? You've played music and you talked about it.
Well, the most important thing is, and I knew this coming from entertainment, so I was very careful. Licensing is a problem, so you can't just play the music. And the next podcast, you will clearly see that, and I will go into that just a little bit in that podcast. So I was concerned about how much music I was to play, and then I circle back to the Chatmosa tech department and ask questions. I mainly would have a problem on the YouTube platform, which actually it did note it, but I wasn't flagged for it. So I know that licensing is always a thing, especially when it comes to musicians and how that works. So I had to tread very carefully about what music, and that's why you just got the intro, because most people know the intro. I've known the intro since I was a little girl. I mean, it was funny, as I was doing this podcast, I was singing, and I would be, well, I was born by the river. And my mother, whom I take care of, she kind of looks at me. She's like, you have no sense because you weren't born by a river. I said, I know, but I feel it in my soul. I was born by the river. And I'd say, and she's like, God help us all. So it was fun because it was music that was nostalgic, that my grandparents would listen to, that I knew growing up. So doing music was actually second hat. I actually more enjoyed tying it into literature. And in this one, it was poetry. I know people understand that music reads like books, but they don't really zero in on it until it's kind of brought out. So I wanted to really exemplify the journey in poetry that was turned into song. So it was an enjoyable podcast for me. I like talking about music and just, have to do it carefully.
Yeah, Auntie, do you play music on your podcast when you screen share?
Sometimes I do, yes.
And have you been like tagged by YouTube?
Girl, absolutely. And YouTube is actually very friendly, I would say, about that, because they sometimes they give you the option to either trim it out. Some artists let you, they're okay with you just like, hey, just keep in mind this is copyrighted, but they won't flag your account, just like Nicole said. But yeah, there was actually one incident which happened. I actually had to completely edit the song out myself because YouTube said, "Oh no, blocked. This is blocked from all U.S. whatever other country blocked." Because what I did was, long story short, Mariah Carey used to sing in a grunge band, and I played a clip of a grunge song, and honey, that clip, YouTube said absolutely not, and took the whole video off. I didn't even have the option to edit it. So I guess it depends on just the level of copyright that the song is, but some artists are truly friendly about that and just don't care. Just like, hey, this is my song. Don't forget, but good job.
Yeah, I mean, in this thing, there's called fair use. So if you did play music, try not to play it too long, and too long means safe is like no more than 30 seconds. Do not give a pause. Just either talk over it or talk immediately after it's played. YouTube's I want to say, David and Sandra, you could help me. I think it's like content ID, where
Mhm.
they would flag your song. They will still flag you, but you could write to YouTube and say, this is actually, we're discussing, this song. It's part of a podcast. The part that's dangerous is if you get flagged for copyright. That's like a big no-no. I think after the third time, your YouTube account will get shut down completely. So those are things to be careful about.
Yeah, there's
You
a
know,
whole music database, and YouTube runs the video through what's called a music fingerprint. So every song has quote unquote a fingerprint, digital fingerprint tied to it, and it does a match, kind of like a Shazam thing. It does a match with yours, and then the fingerprint library for every song. So it's all automated.
yeah,
Uh, and so, but yeah, I think it's what is the max? Because when people, the big thing is like people do reaction videos of music, right? They play what 45 seconds or 30 seconds, and then they pause and they discuss it, and that's how they get around it.
yeah. I want to say, and again, you can't quote us. You'd have to like look it up yourself. I want to say 30 seconds because in TV you're not supposed to play music too long. So maybe 20 seconds is safe, and then talk about it right away.
Yeah, the key here when I did my reach before I did the podcast was if you are critiquing music or discussing it for musical value or giving any type of platform discussion, you can play about 20 to 30 seconds of the music.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's just overall in general, no matter where you are,
yeah,
what you're doing. Anything more than that, that's where you start to run into issues. If you're just playing the music and you're not saying anything or you're not analyzing or giving a critique, you're going to have problems.
yeah.
So that's for everybody anywhere doing any type of putting any type of music within their podcast.
Yeah, and I think Auntie can maybe back me up on this, but I only learned this from Wendy Williams. She was also, oh, stop, 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 or else we're gonna get
Hello?
charged.
Anytime someone try to sing happy birthday on the show, absolutely not. Shut it down.
Stop, stop, stop. So I mean, music is important in a podcast. So for those that are doing intro, by the way, Nicole, I love your Keipeki intro. Kind of just cools it down.
Well, I actually had to find unlicensed music
Exactly.
and only took a snippet of it. That was I went on to Sonos and found someone that had something that I liked,
Hmm.
and then made a copy of it for my intro. But you have to be very careful. You have to make sure that you can either use unlicensed work, and you can talk to the creator if you want to, um, or it's kind of cheating running it through AI, but you can run something through AI and change the platform. You kind of make it yourself. So I went the something that was not licensed, something that was out there in the world free, and eventually I will change it to have something when someone make something for me or make something not me make it, um, but just to start, that's kind of how I got my start with it.
Yeah, you could just hum it. Toot-toot-toot-toot.
We don't want that.
Oh, we don't. Oh, we don't want that.
We don't want me humming.
That's
We don't want me
homemade.
humming. You don't want me
That's
singing.
homemade.
You will hear me sing, but it's never asked for.
And I know we're gonna lose David here very soon. Speaking of Juneteenth and this Black Music Month,
Hmm.
I want to kind of bring in Auntie here. Auntie's been in the mission to um, bring in help Black journalists.
Mm.
Auntie, tell us why and why Black journalists.
Well, absolutely. And since I started my podcast in September of 2024, and at the beginning, I would use a lot of publications, like Vibe was one of them. And I noticed that, through as time went on, I just kind of noticed that the stories got less and less and less. And Rolling Stone, from what I understand, took over Vibe. So there's still a Vibe department, and stories are still shared, but they're not the same type of stories that were shared when I started my podcast. So I just noticed that there was a change in what was being talked about. So and I watched the news, so I noticed that a lot of Black journalists were being laid off. So, I feel that Chatmosa is a wonderful platform because it works for me as an independent podcaster. So I can just imagine what it would do for a reputable Black journalist.
Yeah. And what have you
If
been
I
doing?
may
Yes.
piggyback on that, sorry, I had my hand up. Vibe has actually been purchased by Penske,
Oh,
Penske Entertainment Group,
Thank
variety.
and
you.
um, in lieu of not being controversial, I will just say that the watered down version of what Vibe used to be 20 years ago is what you're going to get now. So Penske is basically purchased Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Vibe, all of the entertainment, Nina Fink, all the entertainment forward
Publication.
entertainment news forward magazines.
Mhm.
It just purchased Vibe a couple months ago. It's not going to be what it used to be. So giving Black journalists a place to come is actually very smart of him. But I just wanted to say it is going to be Penske owned and it's not going to be good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I kind of posted here an article again by uh, uh, on Chatmosa by is it Nikki Chris?
I think it's
Missy
Nikki Chris.
Nikki Chris. Um, Another great article, right? Uh, from layoffs to ownership, owning your own content, owning, becoming a brand as well. And I think, mixing it in with Auntie's journey of getting Black journalists to start podcasting, to become their own independent brand, their side hustle, to turn that into a side hustle, begin that side hustle now. What are you learning, Auntie?
I'm learning that a lot of them are. I don't want to use the word hesitant, but maybe yeah, maybe hesitant is a good word because maybe they're unsure because when people have an idea of podcasting, they immediately think of a studio, expensive cameras, a microphone, and not realizing that they can do. I have a video podcast, but myself, I'm never on camera. Only what I talk about is on camera. And for a journalist, I think something like that could be an amazing workflow. Especially someone who has maybe had just been laid off, but still don't want to stop their workflow. And like I said, it has helped me to brand as an independent podcaster. So I can just imagine what it will do for a Black journalist.
And I think you hit it right. There's something that we really want to push with Chatmosa, and one of our inspiration and launching this product, building this product, it's to be able to produce video podcasts without being on camera. I mean, podcasts became popular because it was so easy. You mean just turn on that mic and just start talking. And with the switch, the transition into video podcasts, I think that's put a lot of podcasters kind of like, put the brakes on, and would be podcasters hesitant to podcast because, like, on top of like the studio, then you have to do like, hair and makeup, and, having to present yourself on camera while you're talking. And we don't think that you should be able to still produce video podcasts without being on camera using these visuals. This podcast alone, you're not, we're seeing each other. We have our avatar and videos turned on. Uh, so we could kind of, see each other smile or nod. Um, but it's not being recorded. It only records our special jumbotron. So, but we invite, especially Black journalists, to get your brand started. And if you are on social media already and you're producing content for social media, you're recording that content most likely, and then you're uploading it to social media. You might as well, continue to record that, but upload it to Chatmosa and have Chatmosa publish it for you to podcasting platforms. And it will be accompanied with an article. Of course, you could write the article yourself as well. And but it's kind of the modern way, I think, of creating content and distributing it, and then uh, publishing and promoting it.
Yeah, no matter who you are, I put a link here on talking about, in this day and age with, LinkedIn kind of being oversaturated, that the podcasts are now really the new resume,
Yeah.
kind of to explain who you are. And we're trying to get some Gen X, Y, and Z and
Hey.
alphas,
Right.
to understand that, hey, set yourself apart. Say you're younger and trying to get into college, you should do a podcast and talk about yourself, who you are. And Camille came up with these three Chatmosa. We call it the Chatmosa 3B branding method: become a brand, build a community, and bring in revenue. That's kind of like the Chatmosa 3B branding model that we think it's really important in this day and age, no matter who you are, and increase your voice.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen overnight. Um, just like the web, products didn't, shoot up overnight, but you've got to get started now. That's my opinion, is you've got to get started now. And with the change, again, what I mentioned of the transition to video podcasting, we have about 15, 20 years of podcasters that are also now switching to video podcasts. So there's kind of this new playing field, and it's a time to jump in and get into that playing field, because you're going to be in this new race, right? And so we invite everyone that are looking to create new content online. If you're not ready to do a recording or upload your recording, then post an article. That's the old school way. That's the blog. But it's kind of neat. We like to see brands show up. It takes about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and you kind of bubble up to the top of your brand. Um, I say, I was in a meeting this week, and it's, HTML and STEM for the young people. Because of AI, it's not really the thing to do now. And the thing to do is you just start podcasting. That's how you show your your speaking abilities, your confidence. Even for myself, I listen to my own podcast. I've got to get rid of all that, like, but I'll improve. And I think, Nicole, I see you talking, but you're muted.
Oh, I was muted for a reason. You were saying the words you need to get rid of. Mine are so and I try really hard and wind up doing it. And even when I write, my default is so, and I start my sentences and I have to go back. So when like I just did, so when I
Yeah.
am speaking, I'm like so yeah. It's when you hear yourself and you're trying to train yourself to
Improve.
speak better
Yeah.
and clearer,
Yeah.
it is something else. It's interesting.
Yeah. With Auntie Derek's podcast episode for today, something that you said that, forget it. I lost it. It's Freedom Day.
I'm sorry, girl. We talk about so much stuff.
We talked about so much stuff, but yeah, it is like seeing these young people podcasts is so impressive. watching their minds, think and to speak it out. I just can imagine what it's going to be like in 2 years, with them continuing to do this and also sharing, the different ideas they have. I remember this now. Auntie was talking about a movie being redone. I think it's the Jim Carrey movie,
Oh, yes. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. There will be a sequel.
right? And I think that for us here at Chatmosa, where we would love to, support and welcome uh, the marginalized community. Uh, there's so much stories there. Bring your stories to life by podcasting. Hollywood needs to hear from the new podcasters these stories and not have to recreate what's been done already. So I think that the future writers, filmmakers, creators is really going to come from these podcasts, and because you're just telling the stories or perhaps the conversations you have. And I'm not a writer, but listening to a lot of podcasts kind of, it's interesting. That's learning perhaps screenwriting and how conversations are happening today.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And, the great thing is that we enable, if you want to write, you can write articles, right? If you want to podcast, do either audio or video podcasts, you can also do that too, as we're doing here. So that's kind of the great thing about Chatmosa. So Camille, you and Sandra were working on, I know there's a lot there. You were fixing bugs, you were doing a lot of things this week. You want to give us a summary of what you did and let me know if you want to screen share? Or...
We'll do a quick one. I think,
Yeah.
listening to our users, our podcasters, and their guests. Someone had told me, and I think I would give credit to that someone here is Nicole. We will be improving the way your links are done. Your links, how they will show up for Instagram, so that you don't have to subscribe to a link tree. Well, you can. I'm not going to discourage you, but again, to save you money, that it would expose your latest link, your latest podcast link. And Sandra's been busy really about debugging. Anytime there's anything broken, just like email Sandra. You know, that's Sandra Guru at chatmosa.com. But we discuss, she has brought in someone that's kind of doing some testing and uh, found some really great bugs, and I would point it to Safari. So for all those Safari users, we apologize. There's a special unique bug that we discovered, um, that we were able to resolve. And Sandra, what was it about? And I think Sandra is
I'm
muted.
sorry, I'm kind of on dog detail, but hold on one moment.
Yeah, Sandra's always on dog detail every time we're recording.
Bug and
But
dog detail.
I know her dog loves to be part of the podcast. The other part is, we also discovered that on Firefox that you can't use the background for a camera. So again, these are just peripheral bugs that we don't get to see, that we find, and just debugging on that part.
Oh, Safari. Okay, so pertains only to the audio podcasters. Safari doesn't support our default audio format, and we just found that out through our lovely intern who has been going throughout the site and throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, and I have to fix what doesn't.
Yeah, so it was during the media editor and the clipper. It's just during that playback. And then I want to also highlight our Sandra's intern who got to the top 90% for his ACT.
Yeah, I think a 36 is a perfect score. He got a 35, which is 99 percentile. So
Wow.
he is He's on his way to Ivy League.
Wow, good for this is Brian, and yeah, claps, clap, clap. I'm hoping we can get Brian on next Friday. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll get him in. We'll get him in. And so I think that's about it. I mean, it's summer. The days are going by fast. We are here to um, give walkthroughs to anyone that kind of just joined in Chatmosa, perhaps hopped into the trial, want to understand how to navigate and setting up their profile, setting up their podcasts. For those that have been podcasting with us at Chatmosa, there's going to be some new things that's happening. Um, just some exciting new things that I don't want to announce yet, just to simplify your brand on Chatmosa and your experience here in Chatmosa. But we have to cut this short because we have to let David go because it's his birthday.
It's the birthday boy. Let me go. But yeah, this is great. Thanks for sharing everything here. I added the a link to the Happy Birthday, David. So that's me.
There you go. Wait, what is this? Is this for real?
Yeah.
Or you can you could tip $150 to Auntie and Keipeki here,
Even better.
and they'll do a recording, a happy birthday recording
coming straight to you.
There you go. For $500.
What was that?
Wow, the voice. There we go.
There you go. Great mic, Nicole. Great mic.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Juneteenth celebration. Thank you, everybody. And
Bye.
my birthday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Easy peasy,